What's going on, everybody? Josh Engleman for Awesemo.com, and I am back with my NFL DFS contenders on FanDuel for tonight's Monday Night Football game between the Las Vegas Raiders and the Baltimore Ravens. Now be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Then head to Twitter, follow me at Josh Engleman. Only place you're going to get updates to my sim results as we get closer to lock. Hop into the comments section. Let me know who your favorite and least favorite of my contenders are for today. And finally, click this link. It's not a link that you can click. I don't know why I said that. But look at this banner next to me. No House Advantage, the presenting sponsor of this show. Use the promo code Awesemo. Get yourself a little bit of extra scratch. Tons of No House Advantage tools on the website to help you as well. So go to Awesemo.com for those. Rounding out the bottom of my top 10, Justin Tucker, Henry Ruggs, Tyson Williams, Josh Jacobs, and Brian Edwards on the outside looking in. Who will be my favorites? My top 5 plays for today? It's time to find out. First up at number 5, we've got Marquise Brown. He's 10K, projected for 10 fantasy points. It's a nice spot for Baltimore. It's a 50-point total, and the real mismatch here is likely the Raiders' defense against Baltimore's offense. Raiders' defense per PFF, 24th. That's not all that great. 12th ranked offense, which I was a little surprised for Baltimore, but either way, better than the Raiders' D on paper. Slight chance for Marquise Brown to go for north of 25 fantasy points. You're just going to need one of those big touchdowns. 4% chance that he's the optimal MVP, 30% at the flex. That's all enough to get Marquise Brown into the number 5 spot. That's slightly behind our number 4 guy. His teammate, 11K Mark Andrews, projected for 10.7 fantasy points. Should not be a surprise. It's the exact same matchup that Hollywood Brown has. 2% chance of going for north of 25, 3% chance of being the optimal MVP, but 34% likelihood of being the optimal flex play. You're probably picking one of these two guys between Andrews and Brown if you're going anywhere in this lineup. The Lamar passing stack is probably not going to be the most popular thing in this showdown. It's not the worst idea in the world, depending on current ownership. But for right now, just by a hair, I've got Mark Andrews ahead of Marquise Brown. Now we take up a little bit of a step into a different tier. Number 3, Darren Waller. He's 13K, projected for about 13 fantasy points. Slight dogs, so you're expecting the Raiders to have to sling it around at least a little bit. Waller's going to be the best option there by far. Number 8 offense in PFF. I want to point that out. That's a top 10 offense for the Raiders and not a top 10 defense for the Ravens. They're 11th, so I don't want to sensationalize it a bit, but it is true. 4% chance of going for north of 25 fantasy points for Waller, a 7% likelihood to be the optimal MVP, plus 36% at the flex. That gets him to 42% overall, the chances of being in the optimal lineup. If you like a pass catcher from the Raiders, it's pretty clearly Waller as the best option. Now, Derek Carr is alone in the number 2 spot, well ahead of Darren Waller, well behind our number 1 guy. I don't want to spoil it for anybody. He's 14K, projected for 17 fantasy points. Look, I think Derek Carr is really good. I think he's underrated in the league, right around the 10th best quarterback, but I don't think he gets that kind of respect. Better ratings for Derek Carr at PFF for 2020 than our number 1 guy today. Let's just putting that out there. 13% chance of going for north of 25 fantasy points. There's an 18% likelihood that he's the optimal MVP, plus a coin flip that he's the optimal flex play. That gets Derek Carr to 67% likelihood of being in an optimal lineup when this slate is over. 2 out of every 3 times we play this slate, you're going to need to get to Derek Carr, and I'm more than happy with that. Go watch the breakfast menu to see why I'm happy about that. Now, before we get to that number 1 contender, one last reminder. Like button, subscribe to the channel, notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Twitter.com/Josh Engleman. You got to follow me there. It's the only place you're going to get the updates to these sim results as we get closer to lock. Comment section underneath this video. I need to know who you like and who you dislike in this video. I want to know who's the best of my contenders, the worst of my contenders. Where are you guys going? And finally, again, shout out over here, No House Advantage. Use the promo code Awesemo when signing up. Get a little bit of extra cash. As if there was any doubt, it's Lamar Jackson at number 1. He's 17K, projected for 23 fantasy points. You know what you're getting here. The floor is massive. The ceiling is massive. He goes for north of 25 fantasy points 40% of the time. This is where it gets really fun. There's a 55% chance that Lamar Jackson is the optimal MVP. Yeah, I said it. More than a coin flip that he's in the MVP spot. because there's no change in price when you move up to MVP, you just get the multiplier. It's not surprising. The guy with the most points needs to be there, and the guy that has the most points in this game is very likely to be Lamar Jackson. You can still get him at 30% in the flex spot, 86% overall. Unquestionably, no doubt about it, Lamar Jackson is the number one play for today's slate. So after taking my first look at this slate, I think Lamar is going underrepresented pretty significantly in the MVP spot and quite a bit overowned in the flex. I would rather just move him to MVP if I have to. I think Derek Carr, pretty similar in this situation. Underowned a little bit at MVP, but I think he's massively underowned at flex. He should just be owned more in general. In terms of fades, Kenyon Drake, Daniel Carlson, Justin Tucker pulling a bit more ownership than I would really think they should at the MVP spot. I'm not going that way, nor am I going to Tyson Williams at MVP. If we're talking about the flex position, Bryan Edwards looks like he's massively underrepresented at 7K. He would be my preferred pay down option. I think Mark Andrews as well, another guy that I'd like to get a little bit more of. Alrighty, folks, that will do it. Those are my NFL DFS contenders on FanDuel for tonight's Monday Night Football game between the Raiders and the Ravens. We have a ton of content out there for this game tonight. Strategy shows, deeper dives, live before locks. Make sure you're watching all of it on the Awesemo.com channel. I will be back again on Thursday for another edition of the Contenders. So good luck tonight, everybody.